So we're still in John chapter 5, and this becomes the discourse after the healing of the paralyzed man or the invalid at the pool of Bethsaida or Bethesda, however you want to say it. And this gets a little bit circular in Jesus. He gives a big speech or discourse, sermon, and it says that he gave them this answer. It sounds like he's talking to the Jews who are trying to kill him. So not openly trying to kill him, but plotting his death, I think, here. But in verse 19 of chapter 5, we're told Jesus gave them, meaning the Jews here, this answer. They're challenging him on why he heals on the Sabbath and why he told this guy to pick up his mat and walk, right? Jesus says, I tell you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can only do what he sees his Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son also does. And right before this, Jesus said that my Father is always working and I am working too, in his challenge to the Sabbath. So here Jesus is saying, I do what I see the Father doing, right? This is all I can do. And this goes back to chapter 1, and this idea of in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God, right? So Jesus is acting this out and describing it. Verse 20, for the Father loves the Son and shows him all he does. Yes, to your amazement, he will show him even greater things than these. So Jesus is forecasting a little bit, greater things. This sounds like when he was talking to Nathanael, you will see greater things than these. He tells the same thing to these Jewish leaders, and probably to the people. He's speaking, this is more of a discourse to a wider group. And then he moves into this idea about life and death and raising the dead. And this is where this is going. He says, for just as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, even the Son gives life to whom he is pleased to give it. So here, the Jews were upset that he claimed to be kind of one with God the Father. Now he's claiming to have the power to raise the dead here, just like God. Even the Son can give life to whoever he is pleased to give it. Verse 22, moreover, the Father judges no one, but has entrusted all judgment to the Son. So this gets kind of intricate in what Jesus is talking about theologically and how the Father and Son work together. It's a little mysterious. But here we're told that judgment is given to the Son, that God doesn't take judgment himself. Verse 23, so that all may honor the Son just as they honor the Father. He who does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. So again, Jesus spelling out this relationship between Father and Son and the power dynamic here and sort of the authority and the work that they're doing. And then it moves into this very interesting breakdown of resurrection, or what I would call life after death, or life in the midst of death, or overcoming death, whatever you want to see. It is not the standard sort of boilerplate, you die and you go up or down, right? The heaven or hell kind of idea. This really challenges it in a different way, and this is kind of at the heart of John's gospel. And it really spells out this sense of, peering behind the veil a little bit here, which the Bible doesn't do a lot of. Actually, Paul does some of it, but this one's interesting. So verse 24, I tell you the truth, whoever hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life and will not be condemned. He has crossed over from death to life. So the belief or the trust in this one, right? Me, Jesus says, if you believe me, trust me, you have life and you have already crossed over from death to life. So it doesn't have any hold on you. So that's sort of number one here. And then verse 25, he says, I tell you the truth, the time is coming and has now come when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear will live. So in the first part, these seem to be living people hearing and believing and crossing over to this life. Now the dead hear, right? when the dead hear the voice of the Son of God, they will live. So life comes to the dead. And, you're talking about spiritually dead, physically dead. That has been an argument in many commentaries, but we just says the dead will hear and live. And then verse 26, for as the Father has life in himself, so he has granted the Son to have life in himself. Verse 27, he has given him the authority to judge because he is the Son of Man. So this judgment and the power of life, giving life, is still being put together. Not really told why or how that dynamic works, but they're put together. So the Son has been given the power of life in himself to give to others and to take for himself, and judgment both here. Then verse 28, do not be amazed at this, for a time is coming when all who are in their graves will hear his voice and come out. Those who have done good will rise to live, and those who have done evil will rise to be condemned. So this is verse 29 is a very interesting verse. And it sets up what seems to be this three-part resurrection, however you want to take this. But, part one was the living hear and believe, and they have life. Death won't touch them. The second part is the dead hear, and those who hear and believe. There's not even belief here. Those who hear the voice of the Son will live. So the living hear, they have life. The dead who hear have life. And then all who are in their graves. So all the dead who are left over, I guess, they all come out and they're judged on what they have done, right? Those who've done good will rise to live. They have life too. And those who have done evil will be condemned. And that's what we're told what their fate is. So there's like a three-part resurrection here. And it's all about hearing the voice and believing in the first part, just the dead hearing and living, and then all in their graves come out and judged by their works. So it's interesting how that works. The question is it by grace or is it by works how this works? Here it seems to be both, right? In this way, grace and works both. So who knows? I don't think this is a systematic argument, but you could probably set your PhD thesis on this argument here from Jesus. So verse 30, by myself I can do nothing, Jesus says. I judge only as I hear, and my judgment is just. For I seek not to please myself, but him who sent me. Now, this is moving into what becomes this kind of I'm just blanking on the word, in a courtroom, kind of a courtroom trial, like Jesus is on trial. He's acting like he's on trial, giving witness about himself. And it starts out here, he talks about his judgment, right? I judge only as I hear, my judgment is just. So Jesus as a judge is just. And then it kind of flips because he starts talking about the witness or the testimony about himself, about how his own testimony is valid. He's being judged by the leadership of the Jews. And he goes into this discourse that is talking about who will be a witness for him, which sounds a lot like a kind of courtroom judgment. We're running out of time here, so I'll pick that one up another time. So thanks.